Okay, guys, I came across these pictures of these women's large behinds, and it made me think about this black, well, she's an African, South African woman by the name of Sarah Barton. That was not, her name was Sartise Barton. She was born in 1789, and she had a very large derriere. And she was naturally, because of course in 1789, wasn't nobody getting no BBLs, but she was exploited profusely by the white men, the Dutch, the French, the Europeans, to the point where, she died at the age of 26. This picture made me think about that woman because these young ladies who choose to get their butts fixed like this, Sarah Baartman had no choice because she was born naturally like that. And because she was sexualized, victimized, made fun of, ridiculed. And it makes me say, if these women truly knew the history of the exploitation of women having extra large behinds, would they choose to look like this? Or is it a product of the fact that as black women, we have been made to feel by a lot of our black male counterparts that our worth is based on how big our ass is? Let's be honest. So we're going to take our time and unpack this and let this thing breathe, okay? Because first we owe Sarah Baartman some respect. This was a woman in 1789. She was born. She on the eastern Cape of South Africa, and she labored on Dutch European farms. And so Sarah was sold as a slave and brought to South Africa, to Cape Town, and there she was seen as a circus trick. The white man, like they always do, find something to profit from. And so there was a surgeon by the name of Alexander Dunlop, and he saw her as an opportunity to make money. And so he suggested, hey, let's take Sarah to Europe, where she was exploited for profit. In 1810, she was in London, and she was thrust into this thing called freak shows. Back then they would have these freak shows. So this black woman, who's naturally has a large behind, and just because white people had never seen anything like this, they instantly and quickly wanted to label her as a freak show. And I'm telling you, as black people, you all, we got to look at the root of why so many of us put unrealistic labels on black women. Come on, black men. You see a black woman, the first thing you do is turn and look at her ass. What if you meet a black woman and she's everything you wanted, beautiful, intelligent, a great woman, sensual and all that, but her butt is not as big as what you like? Would you turn her away? Yes, some of you superficial brothers would, and some of you wouldn't. My next teaching, I'm going to do an in-depth workshop. And this one, y'all going to have to pay because it's going to be over 2 hours long. But we're going to really dive into where the fascination for black women's bodies originated. But in honor of Sarah Baartman, and because I saw these women's pictures, I thought it only appropriate for us to talk about this woman who only lived to be 26 years old. Can you imagine how lonely and ostracized she felt? Stories say that she was married, but her husband got killed by some bushmen. And they stories also say that she had children, but they all died. So can you imagine the trauma? First of all, she's walking around with this extra large derriere that was unheard of back then, and then sold into slavery, and then not American slavery, of course, I'm not South Africa, and then paraded around all of Europe like a freak show. Can you imagine? Who wouldn't die early? What is there to live for? And so in 1814, she was taken to France, and she was sold to an animal trainer. They sold her to an animal trainer where she was facing more degrading conditions. She was forced to perform at wealthy people's parties and private saloons. Like, she was literally pimped out, all because she had a large derriere that these white folk had never seen before. She was treated as less than human, y'all. She was treated as less than human, and you gotta know she was probably miserable. They say when she was miserable and extremely poor, even though many of these Dutch and French and European and South African white people made a lot of money off of her, she died penniless. It's so much there I want to get into, but I don't want to make these videos long. But let's just get into one part, y'all. Black women. I know. Now, some of you people think that we get these, you know what? Okay. Who doesn't like attention? Everybody wants positive attention. Who doesn't want, as a woman, you want to feel beautiful. But when the pressure as black women, I haven't talking for nobody else. It's black women to feel like our butts have to have this perfect bubble, or you men are so disgusted from us. It's just like, trust me, I've experienced it. When I was heavier and my butt wasn't rounder, oh yeah, you see the front of me, you see my pretty face, you see my boobs, and you're like, okay, and then you turn, damn near break your neck to look at my ass. And when it wasn't what you thought, it's like I wasn't shit. It's dehumanizing for you men to make us black women feel like all we are just a piece of ass and tits. And not even tits, because y'all would take a flat-chested sister any day, most of you, than you want that big ass. What is it? More cushion for the pushing, y'all saying all other foolishness? But let me ask you, at the end of the day, when has a big ass ever helped build your financial empire? At the end of the day, when did a big ass ever give you your last drink of water when you were facing cancer, prostate cancer? From the beginning of time, the over-sexualization of black women, it affects our self-esteem. It affects every part of us. And black men, you gotta hear this. This poor woman right here, Sarah Baartman, who was naturally, she didn't get to go and get a BBL, was exploited because of it. And I know there's nothing wrong with having your preference. There's nothing wrong with a lot of things. But what I'm saying is, because so many black women think that is what black men want, and they have to have this big butt to attract a black man. You got these women like these women here getting these big, stupid-looking butts, risking their life. Plastic surgeons say that the butt enhancements, the butt lifts, the Brazilian butt lifts are the most dangerous plastic surgeries to get. So my message to you ladies is, it's nothing wrong with improving yourself. I have nothing wrong with a woman improving herself. Yeah, if you want nip tuck or whatever you do, that's on you. But you still got to love yourself prior to that. You understand that, right? And for you black women getting these ridiculous looking big asses, you look like a fool. And then we have to look at the women who naturally have them, like our dear ancestor Sarah Baartman, who died at 26. Not from a sickness or illness. Honestly, in my opinion, I believe she died from a broken heart and from all the bullshit. They say she died from they say she died from an inflammatory illness. I don't know what that could have been. Because after she died, they did research on her body. White folk. In life, her body wasn't appreciated, and damn near in death it wasn't. So black women, when you get in these real ridiculous looking BBLs, stop it. You're more than your butt, honey. Just like Sarah Baartman was. She was a human being that God created.